Hello there, good morning. Welcome to another edition of Knocks to Nuggets. My name is Oluwayomi Ute, and it's just a joy to come your way this beautiful Monday morning. I say a big thank you to every single person joining me live. Thank you so much for a share of your time. And like I will always say, please like the video, share it, let somebody out there know that there's something called Knocks to Nuggets. And for everyone that will watch thereafter, thank you so much for a share of your time. I also ask you to please like the video, share it. No matter the platform you're watching on, can you just hop to my YouTube channel, Knocks to Nuggets or K2N TV, and subscribe. Let's build that community together. This is the first edition in the month of May, and I love this month because we're talking about children, we're talking about parenting in this month. And I know it's going to be value adding to every single person. And to start us off in this month of May is a dynamic speaker, an author, a clinical psychologist, a life coach, and a spiritual shepherd. He's worked with different individuals, families, and organizations as a family life therapist for over a decade, as a conference speaker for 14 years, as a clinical psychologist for 7 years, and as a prolific writer for 14 years. So he's qualified to be with us this morning, talking about this very important topic. He's a graduate of psychology and has a master's degree in clinical psychology, and his love for personal development has endeared him to attend several other informal trainings, both locally and internationally. He's a conference speaker, and his humorous and mind-boggling teaching style holds his audience spellbound. I can attest to that. His clients testify about how 1 hour with him births clarity and can move you from point A to B, whatever those points are for you, in counseling and in coaching. His love for humanity and selfless service is interesting, and he has served as volunteer to Paradigm Initiative Nigeria, Lagos State Empowerment and Resource Network Learn, and Lagos State Psychosocial Response Team for COVID-19 in 2020, amongst other organizations. Is a recipient of Award of Excellence from the Psychology Department of Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Nigeria, an Award of Impact from the Nigerian Red Cross Society, House of Representatives Ajeromi Felodun 50 Most Influential People's Award, and lots more. He's also the administrator of Uncommon Man Network, an NGO with purpose to restore and preserve human life, founded by one of Nigeria's foremost family life therapists, Praise for Wowen. He has authored several books, and honestly, he would definitely add value to us. An interesting thing about his life is I grew up in a city referred to by many as a slum, Ajegunle, the AJ city. If you're in Lagos, you know what I'm talking about. But he has stood out among his peers and is now a candle that's lighting other candles. He's a mentor to many, a friend to most, and a protege to few. Ladies and gentlemen, join me to receive on the Knocks to Nugget platform today, Miracle Ihuoma. Hey, good to have you in the house. Miracle, are you there with me? Hello, Miracle. Network should just behave itself today because today is very important. Hi. I'm not sure Miracle is hearing me yet, but I'm sure he will join me shortly. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, awesome.
Hello, Miracle, can you hear me?
I'm excited to be here. So
Yes.
I'm
so good.
Here. I'm here, but somehow your audio is cracking from my end. I don't know. Maybe I can jump on my phone.
Okay, let's just change network a bit and see if it goes better. Okay. While we're getting these technicalities on, can you hear me better now?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So yes, we're back. Thank you so much, Miracle, for joining us today. And again, we're having you again next week, Monday. So I'm excited because of what we are talking about. Like I said to you before we came online, it's born from the fact that today's parenting is different from what we had. What we had is way, way, way different. Today's generation, somebody said it's as if they are cooked in the space and thrown on earth with all the digital um, connects right into them, and they're very different species. And so we're talking about today, how do we discover a child's temperament? Because we want to raise nations that will positively impact their world. We want to raise children that will become adults that will add value to their world. And I think the starting point is temperament. How do we discover who this child, who this bundle of joy, who this interesting personality really is? Over to you, Miracle.
Yes. So you can't talk about discovering a child's temperament if you don't even understand what temperament is,
Yeah.
understand characteristics of different temperaments, because that's how you then go to decipher which temperament your child falls under. Of course, there are professional assessments that you can take, or your child can take, that will point him or her to what temperament they have. But first of all, what is temperament? Temperament are personality types that a child has genetically determined, most times from the parents and even from grandparents, right? And they actually determine the characteristics of that child and the personality of that child. And there are
Mm.
four temperaments. I like to, of course, there are different ways to explain this temperament, but in my book, for instance, I used colors, especially when talking about temperament of children, to help about this four temperaments. So I used the gold color. I used the orange color, the green color, and the blue color. Yes, of course. Historically, we know about the choleric, the sanguine, phlegmatic, and melancholy
Yeah.
temperament. So in this case, the gold would be what people might know as choleric. The orange will be what people know as orange. The orange will be what people know as sanguine rather. The blue will be what people know as phlegmatic, and the green will be what people know as melancholy. Yes. I don't know if I should go ahead to begin to explain each of these temperaments so
Yes.
that people can
Yes.
have
Go
a
ahead. Go ahead
okay.
and explain
So
it so we can maximize time. Yeah.
all right. So for the gold personality, gold is a bold color, right? It's a color that speaks of ego, of pride, and that also speaks to a child who has gold as the temperament. For a child
Mm.
who is gold, for example, that child is bold, that child is confident, that child, might even come off as rude or
Mm.
stubborn if you don't know the temperament of that child. The child is not someone who is born to shy away from challenges. They are natural leaders. They are people who, wherever they find themselves, in the classroom, outside the classroom, they are natural leaders. They will volunteer to do things even when they are not asked to. People follow them very easily. They're the ones who say, "Mommy, no, I can't do this," or "Daddy, no, this is not right." That's who they are. It's embedded in their temperament. Yeah, so that's how they are. They have very positive qualities. Yeah, they might have weaknesses as well. The same thing with every other personality, right? Traits. So for them, their strengths would include strong will. They are very strong willed people. They say yes, that yes is a yes, their no is their no. It takes time to convince them to do otherwise. And it could be a positive thing for a child because it means that whatever value is still in that child, they will uphold it very strongly wherever they find themselves. Yeah, it will be very difficult for you to abuse them outside of the home because of their temperament. So they are strong willed, they are go getters, goal oriented, they are results driven. Yeah, they are
Mm.
competitive in nature. Wherever they find themselves, they are very, very competitive. They want to always win. So in the classroom, outside the classroom, they always want to win.
Mm.
Yeah, academically, they might not be the most intelligent, but they are the most clever and smartest people you would ever find. That's why for many of them, they might not do well academically, but they do well in life. Yeah, in
Mm.
fact, many get to employ people who do well academically because they are street smart, they are clever, they find their way around, they They usually have the value of hard work. They like to
mm,
work hard. They're restless when they're not working. So that's the child that is a goal, for example. Of course, their weaknesses would include the fact that they're not emotional at all,
mm,
and because of that, relationally they could be poor, right, in how they relate with other people, right. So they could have poor social skills. Yeah, sometimes they could come off as domineering, as controlling, as rude, and what have you. They can be anger prone as well, so it's easy for you to trigger them to anger, for them to get easily triggered. Yeah, so these would be some of their weaknesses, right?
mm,
And great people, for instance, who have this personality in religion, somebody like a Bishop David Oyedepo is a gold. Somebody in politics, somebody like Donald Trump is a gold. In sports, somebody like Cristiano Ronaldo is a goal, right? So these are all goals, and you could see that many times they are high flyers in whatever they do. And then the second one is the orange. The orange is a color of youthfulness, of
mm,
beauty, right? That is what exemplifies children who are oranges, right? So children who have the temperament of orange are children who are very, very flamboyant. They are outgoing. They are talkative. They are the live wire of the party. They have a lot of energy and they like to play. So if you have a child who's an orange, for instance, they would forget that they have an homework assignment to do until it is that morning when they want to go to school. That's when they say, "Mommy," they start crying. And you say, "What is the problem?" You say, "I have I have an assignment I have not." Yeah. So that's how unserious, quote unquote, they can be, right? I need to understand. But if, for instance, you have different children, it's possible they don't have the same personalities or the same temperament, and you can't compare each of them because they are totally different. So this child who is an orange might come off as unserious, right, to you because they like to just play. They are very forgetful. They live in the moment. What's happening right now? That's where they live in. They don't live in the past. They don't live in the future. They live in the moment. That's why many times, many of them, you won't have them suffering from anything like depression or anything like that because they are people who live in the moment, right? Just like have fun, just like to play. Yeah, some of their positive attributes are they are natural motivators. Can motivate people, right? They can talk people into doing things, right? That's part of their strength. Another strength they have is that they are very friendly and sociable, so people like them very easily. Yeah. Some of their weaknesses would include the fact that they can be talkative. Sometimes they can actually be indisciplined, right? As a result of that, they can live too much in the moment. They can get easily distracted. So it is for someone who is so a child who is an orange, their attention span is not so much. So because they are restless, they want to be doing something, playing around and moving around. That's part of who they are. And then you now have the um, green, the green personality. That is the dollar. That's the color of the dollar bill. That's the color of our 20 naira note. That's almost almost in extinction right now because I don't know who uses 20 naira, but green. That's the color of Nigeria, at least. Yeah, the land
that's
is
a
green.
positive.
Yeah, and of course, green paints a picture of serenity, of calm. That's what green paints, um, and of value as well. And and academically, what I didn't say about the orange is the fact that they are intelligent, but because a lot of the times they're not disciplined, it doesn't show in the academics. Yeah,
Mm,
but any orange child who gives themselves to reading, to studying, usually will do well because they are naturally intelligent people. Yeah, there are people who will thrive in professions like sales and marketing. They will thrive in professions like anything that has to do with speaking, broadcasting, entertainment, right? Media. Those are the areas where they will do so well because it comes very natural for them. And then for the green, back to the green now, there are children who are very meticulous, who are very detailed, who are very analytical in the way they think. And academically, these children are usually very brilliant. In fact, many times in a classroom, they would top their class because they are naturally brilliant. So most times, if you go to a class, who usually comes to first position would be a green. Yeah, that's how, because of how their brain works, and they are very good with numbers, right? Anything that has to do with numbers, that has to do with analysis. So you see them excel in subjects like mathematics, further maths, physics, anything that is technical, quantitative reasoning, because that's how their brain is wired to actually pay attention to details. Yeah, but sometimes that could also be a weakness for them because they pay attention to too much details that they sometimes now become critical of
Hmm.
people and even themselves. Yeah, so they are critical of other people and also themselves. So they are also self-critical, right? So they criticize themselves a lot as well. There are people who go into a place and then they are always spotting what is wrong. That is why they could also be pessimistic
Hmm.
because of a particular trait that they have. They are always looking for what is not right. And a lot of the times they could also be perfectionistic, right, as well. So they want things to be perfect, they want things to be done, in a particular way. They are the children that would say, who removed my book from this place? Not that the book was totally removed, but it was shifted from its original position. Because
Mm-hmm.
for them, it has to be that exact way they kept it. For a lot of those children, you hear them say, my mommy,
Mm-hmm.
daddy, book, my pen, my clothes, my this and my that, because they can be possessive. Yeah, they don't
Mm-hmm.
have a lot of friends. They don't like to relate to a lot of people. But if they relate with one person, they like to keep that one person or two people to themselves. Yeah, so they can be possessive of those people, of mommy and of daddy and whoever it is they like. Yeah, they can sometimes even have mood swings. So if you have a child, for instance, has mood swing, right? It's possible that this is their personality. So sometimes they are happy, and sometimes they just want to be by themselves, right? And nothing is wrong with it. That's what how they process, things. So that is the green for you, right? Their strengths, of course, the fact that they are analytical, they are detailed, they pay a lot of attention to details. They can be sacrificial in relationships as well. So a lot of the times they give their all. You say, mommy, your mommy needs something, they can go all out for mommy, for daddy, for their siblings, right? Once they love you and you are in their corner, they can be sacrificial in relationships as well. Some of their weaknesses, of course, they are perfectionists. Perfectionism is not a good thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Excellence is what we not perfection, right? Because nobody can be perfect. Be excellent. We
Yeah.
can make progress, but we can never be perfect. But for a lot of time, they want to be perfect. So if they score a 9 out of a 10 in the test, they can feel like they're not doing well. That's why if you are parenting a grade, for example, you want to validate them a lot. You want to give positive affirmation because they need that to thrive and to grow and become the best of themselves. If not, they have a tendency to actually suffer from low self-esteem because they internalize things a lot. They like to internalize things. So if you tell a green you are stupid, they can internalize that a lot. In fact, if you tell them you didn't do this thing well, they can interpret it as I am not good enough, right? Instead of just taking that correction as you didn't do well, they will internalize it. If you tell an orange, you are stupid, he might laugh or even say, me, I'm not stupid, though. And if you are his mate, he can tell you, you are the one that is stupid.
Mm-hmm.
But that he doesn't think about it. The next day, he can even forget that you told him that he was stupid. But it's not the same thing with a green. A green would internalize it. He can write down the date, the time, the color of dress you're wearing, when you said what you said, and then still have that diary 5 years after and be looking at it because that's how they process things, right? They can be secretive as well, they like to keep things to themselves. So a lot of that contributes to why they are susceptible to low self-esteem and what have you, right? And even to depression if all other factors are not equal. That is the green. And then finally we have the blue. The blue what's the color of the sky, right? It's a cool color. It's a calm color. It's a color that talks about serenity as well, right? And the blues are the most quiet of all the personalities. They are the most quiet. They are natural peace lovers and peacemakers. They love peace and they like to also broker truths on behalf of other people because they don't like issues. You will step on a green and he will apologize, on a blue rather, and he will be the one to apologize to you because he doesn't want issues, right? They are that cool, calm, and collected. Yeah. But they can be stubborn in the sense that sometimes because they don't want issues, you can tell them what to do. They will agree with you, but still go ahead to do what's in their heart because they don't want to they don't like disagreement. So they can say, okay, I will do it, but still they will do what they want to do. And also another area and that time they display stubbornness is when you push them to the wall. Because they are very tolerant, they are very, very tolerant and patient, the most patient of all the personalities, right? So, for example, in adult relationships, a blue can be in a relationship, in an abusive relationship, for a long time. And, one day after they have absorbed this so much, they can snap. Yeah.
Mm.
And they do what you would want. That's why many times you are wondering, but this person is quiet. She doesn't talk. He doesn't talk. How come he did this? How come she did that? That's because they have endured it a lot, and then sometimes they just rebel,
Mm.
out of the blues, right?
Mm.
Yeah, so
Mm.
that's how they act, and of course they are very intelligent as well. Even though they could procrastinate a lot, that's one of their weaknesses. They can like to procrastinate. So they have an exam in 1 month's time. They must start reading one day before the exam. Oh, I will do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. The green and the blue procrastinate. The green procrastinates because they want things to be perfect. Why the blue procrastinates? Because sometimes you can just be laid back, right? A lot of them are unambitious. A lot of the blues are very unambitious. If you ask them what they want to be, they might not even know in the future. They will tell you, I want to be your guy's wife. That's a kind of, ambition that they have. They just like soft life, no issues, no stress. That's really what they like. You won't hear a blue talking about grandiose visions, except that's been instilled by the parents. That's why if you're parenting a blue, you want to oscillate between validating them and also giving them some subtle push here and there. Because without a push, they might not maximize their potential. Many times they do lesser than they can do because of that unambitious and sometimes laid back trait, that lack of motivation that they have to get things. That's why for a lot of the blues, their hobbies are watching TV and sleeping. They like to sleep, they like to watch TV. That's
Mm.
usually their hobbies, right? But when it comes
Wow.
to things that they thrive in on or areas and fields that they will thrive in. They will thrive in anything secretarial. They will thrive in editing, in even writing. A lot of them write very well. Social works and things like that. And of course, anything that has to do with even counseling. Yeah, they will thrive in counseling. A lot of them are even teachers. A lot of them do very well as teachers. Yeah, a lot of teachers fall here who are natural teachers, not people who circumstances made them teachers. People who love to teach, right, are here because I'm patient with children. They love children a lot, and that's that. So let me stop here now. We
Wow.
have
Yes, you've said so much and you have answered a lot of questions while explaining. Because, I mean, you have been able to explain the temperament and then the characteristics. So, for every parent out there, whether you're a biological parent or you're parenting somebody or you're even just guiding a younger person, listening to all of these four classifications, you can place that child, even though rightly said, and I think I'm right, Miracle, nobody is a perfect orange or a perfect gold or a perfect blue. You will see the mixtures, but what is dominant? So if gold is dominant, you know what to do. If orange is, you know what to do. If green is, we know what to do. And we'll pause here today. You know why? Because I haven't taken all of this in, and I want to appeal to everybody. Just play it again, listen again, look at those younger people around you, try to put them, where do they really belong? Because next week we'll be asking ourselves, having known their personalities, how do we shape them without breaking them? I hear you talking about the blue, for instance, I need to push them. How do I push without breaking? Because if there's a way I would push and child thinks I hate him or I hate her, and then that's it. And for the orange that is so playful, how do I say, you know what, please, let's not play now, let us read. Without the child thinking, I know a child that said to the mother, I thought you said I'm your baby, yet you don't like playing with me. And the mother says, but you have played almost 24 hours of the day. Can't we breathe? And then she got very upset. How can we breathe when there's still time to play? And what was the time here? 9:30 to 10 in the night. Mother was like, I need to sleep. Then I said, no, but I still want to play some more. Now, how do you handle that kind of a child? Without that child thinking, you don't want to play with me, that means you don't like me, you hate me, you are not my friend anymore. So all of this is what we're talking about next week. We have seen the various temperaments. How do we really shape these children without breaking them? Somebody said to me some time back, it's easier to just break the child and mold the child into what you want. Is that the right thing to do? Miracle will be answering that question next week, because really, that's like a shortcut. Just break that child's will. Make the child into a yes child. Sit down, yes, mommy. Stand up, yes, daddy. Run, yes, uncle. Read, yes, auntie. It's the easiest way to manage. So when you go out to church, let's sit down here, just sit down until you say stand up. But is that the best? Do we need to break their will? Or can we mold them, still preserving their natural characteristics? This we'll be talking about next week, Monday. Thank you so much, Miracle, for being very clear. I mean, and I love the colors, gold, orange, green, blue. It's easy to remember. For every parent out there, it's easy to remember, to picture, and to analyze that young child that's in your hands to mentor, to guide, to lead, to help become the best that God has made him to be. Thank you so much, Miracle. We'll continue from here next week, talking about how do we shape without breaking.
Thank you.
Wow, that was really, so full. So many things to glean from that. I want to appeal to everybody, like I said while Miracle was on, just let's listen again, and listen again. And as you're listening, you're asking yourself, this child, this young adult, this teenager, this toddler, who is he or who is she? So that you can know how to help that child become the best version of him or herself. Don't try to make that child like you. You are you. He is him. She is her. Let us help them be their best version of themselves, not of ourselves. And so in this month of May, we're talking about parenting a whole lot, and I know you gain something from it. Remember, if you're watching for the first time, thank you so much for coming on the call. Like I always say, please like the video, share it, let somebody out there know about Knocks to Nugget. And if you are being a regular follower, thank you so much for a share of your time. I do not take it for granted. Remember to go to the YouTube channel and please subscribe. And also hit the notification button so that even if you don't get a note from me, YouTube will tell you when we are online. And until I come your way next week in another edition of Knocks to Nugget, remember this: if you can think it, you can be it, and yes, you can have it. And like I always say, it's together that we win. Thank you so much. See you next week, Monday. God bless you. Bye for now.